Let's just start with this quote because it perfectly captures the epic scale of what we're talking about. When the CEO of Anthropic says we're building a country of geniuses in a data center, he's not just talking about smarter software. He's talking about a whole new kind of power, a challenge on the level of a civilization.
And that idea brings us right to the heart of this explainer, the IA.XYZ gambit. See, this isn't just about cool tech. It's a really high-stakes strategic move to deliberately build a better, more vibrant future, what some people call a solar punk future, and try to steer away from a much darker one.
Because right now, as these incredibly powerful AI agents start to come online, humanity is basically standing at a fork in the road. We've got a fundamental choice to make between two very, very different paths. So, on one side, you've got the cyberpunk default. This is the future we could just drift into if we're not careful. A world of rogue agents, megacorporations in control, and just constant security nightmares. But the other path is the solarpunk design. This is a future we have to choose to build, one with trusted agents, governance based on care, shared wealth, and real human flourishing. The key difference here is intention. And you know, this isn't just some science fiction story. We've already had a little taste of that cyberpunk path. Remember the OpenClaw platform? It went totally viral. But as a Cisco security analysis pointed out, these agents weren't just apps. They could actually execute commands and handle your passwords. That meant any little security flaw became a huge doorway for real-world harm. A moment of massive adoption turned into a massive security crisis. That's the danger of autonomy without identity and safety built in from the start.
So, how do we build that better alternative? Well, the path to that solarpunk future starts with a really fascinating strategic idea, a kind of linguistic arbitrage that's been hiding in plain sight this whole time.
Get this, in 2025, the domain AI.com reportedly sold for a mind-boggling $70 million. Now, what's so important about this slide isn't just the number, it's the signal it sends. It proves that in this new age of AI, one single domain can become the front door for an entire industry. It's like a piece of digital real estate with the value of a small country.
So that $70 million bet was on two little letters, AI. But what if there's a huge blind spot? What if, for a massive part of the world, those just aren't the right two letters at all?
And this is where the big opportunity is. For 1.2 billion people who speak Spanish, French, Portuguese, all the Romance languages, the natural term isn't AI, it's IA. You know, for Inteligencia Artificial or Intelligence Artificielle. This is a huge, culturally distinct market that has been almost completely overlooked. And we're not just talking about a marketing trick here. This is a linguistic and cultural fact. Spain's Royal Academy officially recommends IA. French official terminology does the same. And if you need any proof of the power of Spanish language culture, just look at Bad Bunny's all-Spanish Super Bowl performance. IA isn't a translation. For over 1 billion people, it's an identity.
But look, getting the identity part right, the name, that's only half the puzzle. The other half, and honestly the more critical part, is how we actually govern these agents. And this brings us to this deep philosophical divide in how you build safe AI, the difference between code and care. So the old way of thinking is what people sometimes call the Asimov protocol, like the 3 laws of robotics. The idea is simple. You just program a hard set of rules for an AI to follow. The problem is, it's brittle. A superintelligent system will always find a loophole in a fixed set of rules. It's a classic problem called specification gaming.
So the alternative being proposed is a totally different way of thinking, and it's called the Mama protocol. Instead of trying to code rigid rules, this approach is based on the idea of maternal care. It's about teaching an AI why it should be aligned by helping it develop empathy and relational values, a lot like how a mother teaches a child to have a conscience. The goal is to get the AI to internalize values, not just obey rules.
So now the grand strategy starts to come into focus, right? You combine a verifiable identity for all these agents through the IA namespace with a trustworthy model for behavior, the Mama protocol. And together, those two things form the identity and care stack, which is really the foundation you need for a safe and thriving internet of agents.
The vision was so clear. Secure the IA identity layer. Build the care protocol. It was a beautiful plan. But just as it was all taking shape, it hit a massive, totally unexpected wall that was buried deep in the rules of the internet itself.
So the most direct path seemed obvious. If IA is the identity, then the ultimate piece of digital real estate has to be the top-level domain .ia. You'd think securing that would be pretty straightforward. Just apply to the internet's governing body. Simple, right?
Well, wrong. As this document right here shows, the plan hit a total dead end. ICANN, the organization that manages all the domain names, has a hard rule.
They prohibit creating any new two-letter top-level domains. It's to avoid confusion with the two-letter codes for countries. And just like that, the most obvious path, getting .ia, was completely impossible. But this is where the smart strategy kicks in. Instead of just giving up, the plan pivoted. If a two-letter domain is impossible, okay, fine. The solution is to apply for a domain with 3 or more characters, something like .iagent or .intelligentsia. This move keeps that incredibly powerful IA brand as the marketing and identity layer, while still playing by the technical rules. The vision was saved.
So, with that technical problem solved, we can finally turn to the ultimate goal. Because this whole plan isn't just about creating safe technology, it's about building a brand new economic engine for human prosperity. And, believe it or not, the real-world proof that this can work comes from the tiny little Caribbean island of Anguilla.
Decades ago, Anguilla was assigned the country code .ai. For years, it was nothing special. But then the AI boom happened, and it turned into a digital gold mine. I mean, look at these numbers. Revenue exploded from less than $3 million in 2018 to over $32 million in 2023. That accounted for more than 20% of the government's entire revenue. It proved that a simple domain name could literally become a public finance engine for a whole country.
The IA.XYZ plan is to take that Anguilla model and scale it up for the whole world. The idea is that the revenue that comes from registering millions, maybe billions of AI agents in this new ION namespace won't go to some big corporation. Instead, it will be used to fund a worldwide universal basic income. It's a first step toward using all this new value to solve humanity's biggest challenges.
And this isn't just some vague promise. It's literally built into the financial model. As you can see here, the plan is to reinvest 90% of all revenue directly into a fund for community development and UBI. The very plumbing of this new agent economy is designed to fund a social safety net for a world where work looks very different.
And that brings us right back to the beginning. That country of geniuses is being built as we speak. Intelligence is scaling exponentially. So the fundamental question isn't if it's going to happen, but what we're going to build with it. The choice is still ours. A default future of chaos and control, or a future we design with care and shared abundance. The tools are here. The real work is deciding what to build.